Welcome to episode 324 of the Grip Strip podcast, the Italy 2, Spain 2 edition of the Grip Strip podcast. My name is Philip Matthew. I'm your host. I am not a football announcer since we just got over the World Cup fever, MetLife Stadium being named New York, New Jersey Stadium, what do you call Hard Rock Stadium being Miami Stadium, et cetera, et cetera. Fort Niner, what do you call Levi South being named Los Angeles Stadium. Notice how I did that since the Rams insisted that they had to go to Australia to play their home opener against the 49ers. But I digress with that. Of course, Spain winning the World Cup, Yamin Yamal, whatever the fuck, 19-year-old kid is going to be playing in I don't know how many more World Cups, gets the win. Didn't really stand out. One of his teammates came through there in extra time, but their defending was world class. Gave up 1 goal in 7 games, which is outstanding. They got RJ to fall asleep while watching a game in person. Then he stood there like a wooden Indian and wouldn't leave off the stage like a normal person when they were trying to go and do their celebration. So congrats to Spain, their second World Cup, for Lionel Messi, the GOAT, or one of the GOATs. Definitely didn't look it in that final. But he's still playing for his club team here in the MLS. Argentina, of course, plenty of great players. Their goalkeeper is one of the best in the world and plays in the Premier League. So we'll see him in a few weeks' time. Made, 11 saves. But unfortunately, once they went down to 10 men, it was going to be a problem. But the reason for that's the reason for the name of the show. But one thing that doesn't change because of his great analysis and great insight, the same way as Spain was able to shred and systematically, scientifically dissect the Argentinian defense, is the iRacing Indy 500 champion, you won the Firecracker 400 recently, too. Your computer genius, a gentleman and a scholar. His name is Joshua Fine. A Jacksonville Jaguars diehard. I don't think we're going to have you breaking down footy just yet, but we're going to be breaking down football soon enough since training camp is coming up. But how are you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. Yeah, World Cup fever, of course. So I guess now that that's over, we'll not care about soccer until 2030, I guess, in summer
28 because of the Olympics.
Well, yes.
And then 2030.
Yeah, but World Cup-wise, yes, that is true. But so I guess there's that. But yeah, I'm playing the whole trope about how America doesn't care about soccer until it's time to care about soccer and everything.
It's true though.
Yeah, but yeah, Neil, we'll go back to real football here, in less than 50 days away from, or just over 50 days away from the start of the NFL regular season. Regular season Sunday, starting on September 13th.
September 14th.
Yeah, 13th, so almost forgot that there, but yeah, so that's important there. So looking forward to that, of course. But of course, in the racing world, the real sports, as some might say, of course, we had North Wilkesboro coming back to the schedule for the first time in 30 years. Of course, it's already been back in a way in the All-Star race, but this year now on the schedule for real. So that was great to see. Of course, IndyCar, Nashville, of course, delayed by soccer and weather. We'll talk about that later. F1, all that stuff. So yeah, ready to get into it.
Yeah, I'm actually watching a replay of the IndyCar race because I didn't miss it because I was at work because they decided to put it at 3:00 in the afternoon in Nashville, the suburbs of Nashville. in the middle of July. So great job by IndyCar and Fox on that one. But yeah, I mean, in terms of we're right in the heart of racing season, unlike last year where they stopped for the Olympics and all that. I mean, granted, NASCAR Cup is going to be off here after this weekend's race. So after this coming weekend's race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Brickyard 400, but they're Formula One will be taking their summer break as well. After this weekend at Hungary, we'll be previewing both of those. IndyCar is taking their last weekend off, which makes the decision that they made even worse, since they could have just waited till whatever Monday night at that point and just gotten the dang race and not had everybody cook. But we'll get in everything that went on. Of course, Joey Logano wins his first race in over a year. Dominating fashion, had to hold off his old teammate Dennis Hamlin to do so. Old school, typical North Wilkesboro race. I think a typical short track race with this car. No matter what NASCAR radio wants to tell you, the car sucks on short tracks. But in the case of Joey Logano and Penske, they prove once again that they're the best at this. I think anything from like a mile under on the flatter tracks or short tracks, they are the gold standard, and then it's Gibbs. One of those two teams generally is going to win. Hendrick was there. We'll get in all that. We'll get into the domination by Front Row Motorsports in the Truck Series race, and Chandler Smith looking like Jeff Bodine circa 1994 in the Cup Series race when he lapped the entire field, had the biggest margin of victory on a short track in Truck Series history. Plenty of Cup guys in that race too. And they were all looked like a bunch of turkeys, overdone turkeys by the time they got out of their race trucks. So maybe NASCAR should think about maybe taking the damn windows out of them or get better air circulation than what they have these days. I don't know. They talk about safety, but then they would rather have these guys cook like they're in freaking ovens. Alex Palou goes out there, gets the victory at Nashville Superspeedway, his third oval victory of his career, his fifth win of the 2026 season, on his way very likely to a fourth consecutive championship and a fifth championship in total. As silly season keeps on going on in IndyCar, plenty to look at and discuss as we see the movement that's going on in the world of IndyCar. As they take a week off before Portland, Andrea Kimi Antonelli going and reasserting himself as, I don't think it was reasserting, I guess is the wrong term. I'd say going and reminding everyone why he's been the title favorite for a good amount of this season, while his teammate George Russell continues to have issues. His car owner and team principal dismissing it, even though the team and the engineers and everything are choosing to ignore obvious problems that exist with George Russell's car that allowed him to be in a position to get into a wheel-to-wheel battle with Lewis Hamilton, which started Lewis Hamilton's cluster of a day that somehow or another ended up with a fourth place finish. Charles Leclerc looked like and had utilized some of the VSCs to go and get himself into the lead, but ended up second, and then Fishlips ended up third. So three different constructors on the podium, but AKA up front, Logano and AKA being your two for Italy, Palou, and of course the Spain national team, the two for Spain. Roundup will be relatively quick. Rally Estonia, dominant first win took place there this past weekend. Indy NXT was another dominant performance, not a first win, a third career win, first on track this year because he won one post race earlier this year. Formula E will be back in Tokyo for a doubleheader, their season getting close to the end. NHRA on the Western Swing, which is 2 races now. Sonoma Nationals add some of those all-star events as well. Then they'll be at Seattle this week before he takes some time off. F2 and F3 was at Spa last week, and then they'll be back at Hungary this week. And then we will make our picks for the Truck Series, which will be at Lucas Oil Raceway Park or Indianapolis Raceway Park. O'Reilly Series, for whatever reason, continues to stay at the Brickyard, which nobody cares or wants, really, that actually cares about racing. And then the Brickyard 400, one of the majors, one of the ones you want to win. A lot of the great names in this sport have won that race. So, see who can do that. Josh will let us know all things going on in iRacing, gaming, and sim segment. And, we'll call it a day. So, let's get to North Wilkesboro for the Window World 450. Anytime I think about Window World, I always think about the late John Andretti, because he was connected to Window World and had their sponsorship for many, many years when he drove for Front Row or drove IndyCars, would run the Indy 500 for different organizations. I think he did it for Brian Reinbold, then he drove it for Michael Andretti, his cousin, and had Mr. the King with him as well. So always reminds, and John Andretti, another way to harken back to the last time they raced at North Wilkesboro in a points race, John Andretti was in that race. Rusty Wallace was part of the Start Your Engines call there. And of course, he's won, I don't know how many races there. And they had a midnight throwback, which was also a throwback to Penske and 60 years that Gumby Cindric was driving there on Sunday. But it was Gumby Cindric's teammate, Joey Logano, throwing it back to all-star races of previous years and some of his most dominant performances. Well, it was his most dominant performance of his Cup career and laps led. Won second stage, finished fourth in stage one, and once he got that final pit stop and got back out in the lead, basically it was really a case of being able to battle traffic, and he was able to do so. And for Logano, I mean, 3 points away from a maximum points haul there. So, I mean, an unbelievable performance for the driver of the Shell Pennzoil Ford. His first win in more than a year. Got to give his oldest son, Hudson, a ride. His dad was able to disconnect the window and put Hudson in the car. He goes and does a burnout around the whole entire racetrack. First win as a Vidalia onion after having hair or some sort of hair for all these other wins. And gets himself back into the chase contention in the process here. Only 5 cautions, two for the stages. The last caution was the end of stage 2. There was 3 incidents for cause. One of them, the caution with John Hunter and getting moved off of the 38's bumper. Then the Alex Bowman going and trying to cross 3 lanes to get into the pit road, which Blaney did the same thing, and it cost him later. Took out Tyler Reddick there. And then Chris Bell after that restart, like, goes and wrecks the crap out of Josh Berry, who was actually having a decent run, which has been few and far between for more than a year with that 21 team. So unfortunate for Josh Berry. I think he was actually going to have a reasonable chance to get a top 15 finish on Sunday, and then just got destroyed, and that was the end of that. Results here: Joey Logano leads 323 of the races, 450 laps. Dennis Hamlin second. Chase Briscoe from 30th finished third because they had no qualifying, so they went on the algorithm or the metric or whatever. So he got wrecked out of the race late, so he started deep. Keebler Gibbs won stage one, sped on pit road coming off for that pit stop under yellow. Led the third most laps. SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen, led the second most laps on the day, scored the third most points of any driver, finished fifth. Darrell Walsh Jr. in a great-looking Coca-Cola car, last car on the lead lap. My mom loved that paint scheme, so it tells you she noticed that car. So if my mom noticed it, then they really did a good job. And she knows because I'm a fan of Doral. Going into defending the Brickyard 400 there this coming weekend. So great run for him. Coming from 26, Brad Keselowski a lap down, tried to use Strat, finished 7th. Todd Gilliland to top 10. I feel like that's probably his best finish of the year, but who knows? Daniel Suarez goes and crosses the commitment cone, crosses on the pit road line, then goes and turns out. They said because he was trying to avoid Alex Bowman and Tyler Reddick, but he drove over the pit road entrance line, so that's a penalty. It's a penalty for other drivers. I don't know why Nacho Libre didn't get penalty unless it's because they're Hendrick Light or because they're worried about ice or something. But that made no sense. And then Prix, rounding out your top 10, they were the drivers from 7th through 10th were the only cars one lap down. Ryan Blaney, who had won the pole based on the metric, had to go to the back because of replacing a steering rack, got up front, was in position possibly to contend, and then had the speeding penalty, finished 2 laps down in 11th. Byron there got a 1 stage point. Hurricane Hocevar 13th, Cindric 14th, William Clyde Elliott the second was 17th, and then Christopher Bell was 19th. Those last 2 were 3 laps down. So yeah, I mean, a lot went on there. I mean, Reddick has lost a ton of points. Eric Jones had a rough, likes of Busher, Jones. Those are guys that are in playoff contention or were in the playoff mix there. And some of the other ones that AJ Allmendinger's chance to make it destroyed himself there. I think any chance of Kaulig getting into the postseason over these last couple of weeks has gone away, unfortunately for AJ Allmendinger. But he can focus more on Arrow, his son, and trying not to destroy another Power Wheels, since he loves looping his Power Wheels in their driveway and running tires off of it. So what do you call Tara, his wife, can go and have to hold everything in because now she's got a little like a 1 foot less version of a 3-year-old version of AJ Allmendinger now, who's going to end up being a race car driver too. But yeah, I mean, Logano went out there, man, and just fucked him up. It was a masterclass in short track racing, old school short track racing, new school short track racing. The guy is a Hall of Famer, and they made the comment about how many Hall of Famers that have won there. And I think it's interesting that the top 2 guys that finished this race are likely to be in the Hall of Fame. You know, you had Kyle Busch, of course, passed away. They had a tribute to him and tributes to Benny Parsons, the late great Benny Parsons, whose wife fought to bring this track back. But old BP would have appreciated the battle that Hamlin and Logano had, but man, oh man, that 22 car was fast.
Yeah, man, oh man, that was definitely a dominating race there by Joey Logano. Throughout that, I mean, you know, you have to also have to consider the fact that you know, they had the tire test a couple of years ago that really just helped them gain a ton of data on the track after they repaved it. And, you know, you saw what he was able to do in 2024 and 2025 during the All-Star races there. And of course, they did have a new tire this year, so that was a little different, but still, just the fact that they have all that data it really does give them kind of an advantage over the field, but still, you know, he was able to just drive away from people and really outperform the rest of the field throughout the entire race. He was able to fend off SVG early in the stages, stage 2 there, middle of stage 1. So that was definitely interesting to watch. For Logano, I mean, first win in over 40 races here, so hasn't won since Texas in 2025. So, you know, for Logano, of course, it's been a bad year for him so far. Now he gets himself back into chase contention here, so there's definitely a possibility there where he could continue to move up in the standings and everything. So, yeah, it's definitely a huge win for him. Of course, yeah, the first race in Wilkesboro in over 30 years, so for a points paying race there. So, yeah, definitely a very interesting race. I mean, it was kind of a little strung out in a way because so many people, you know, went a lap down. Pit cycle kind of caused everybody to go a lap down there. And then, I mean, the battle for the lead was fairly interesting, but you can tell that Denny Hamlin just never could get up, you know, within more than a half a second without traffic. So it was just going to be a tough challenge overall for Denny to really do anything with Logano there. So yeah, it was definitely a interesting race there. I mean, you know, you had SVG leading laps, which is crazy. Of course, it helped him with qualifying too. I think, you know, being up there based off the metric helped them a lot there too. And of course, ran the Truck Series race on Saturday there, finished third. So definitely helped him there. Might have the quote of the year for him with, you know, what the F do I do now that I'm leading. So, you know, especially on an oval. I mean, we know what he can do when he leads on a road course. Logano basically did what SVG does to people on road courses. So, you know, there you go. So I guess that's one way to put it. But yeah, it was just an interesting event to watch. You know, you had the pit cycles that caused half the field to go lap down. The pit error between Alex Bowman and Tyler Reddick, just been a bad summer for Tyler Reddick here so far. You know, we haven't really seen him perform on track since Pocono, you know, back in the middle of June. As crazy much as that is to say. So, you know, they just have not had great results, but they're still in it and everything. But, you know, it's going to have to change quickly if he still wants to finish regular season on top at regular season end in Daytona next month. So still a little ways to go to catch up, but he's going to have to, you know, turn around the ship now or stop the bleeding now, because Denny's going to run away with it much longer. So we'll see what happens. But for, you know, other guys, I mean, yeah, SVG, of course, I mean, huge improvement, and obviously last couple of weeks has been running well with the win at Sonoma and Atlanta. So that's, you know, good for him there. But Wallace was up there too, led laps. So, you know, good run for him. Brad Keselowski, I mean, finished lap down, but first top 10 in a while for him. Of course, I mean, there was one point where he's in the top 10 in the standings, and he had dropped back now all the way down to 19th now. So, you know, for Keselowski, I mean, this was definitely a step in the right direction. Ty Gibbs ran up front for a good bit. Chase Briscoe, of course, third to 30th or 30th to third there. So good run for him there, of course. Yeah, Ryan Blaney was up there too, was on pole and everything. Ended up finishing 2 laps down. Part of that, pit cycle debacle and everything. Kyle Larson, of course, might have had something if they would have qualified. Ran into Zilich there on pit road, so that kind of set them back a little bit, and they never really got things going. But I guess they recovered in a way to finish 15th. After being back at the field mostly. Chris Bell had another issue on pit road, so that kind of because they were up there too, but then they kind of fell back to 19th there, and they finished 3 laps down. So that was pretty bad for them. Ross Chastain never had an opportunity there. Remember, he had the penalty to serve at the very beginning of the race. Just never got on the same page as the race. Of course, Connor Zilich's terrible season continues here. So it was definitely a lot of action in the middle of the second stage and first stage there. So it was all part of it. And then of course the final stage just went green the whole way and everything. And it's kind of a classic short track race there in the sense of how many cars finished on the lead lap there, with only 6 cars on the lead lap. And kind of just a curb stomping victory for the 22 car there. So I mean, now looking forward here on the schedule, you have to look at the tracks that Penske is good at here on the schedule. I mean, Indianapolis, of course, they own Indianapolis. They've been up front. Well, at least, Blaney has been up front there a couple of times. Blaney's won Iowa back in 2024. Logano, of course, was up front at Richmond when he got hooked by Austin Dillon there a couple of years ago. Flat track of Loudon, New Hampshire, of course. That's an opportunity for them. And then Daytona, of course, we know what Ryan Blaney could do and Joey Logano can do on the super speedways there. So the schedule actually does favor Penske here in a lot of ways here. So there's definitely an opportunity for Logano to start making headway in the standings, I guess, if he can recover and potentially surprise people by having a good playoff run here. So, and the same thing for Blaney to potentially sneak up on Denny Hamlin here. So we'll see. But I mean, for North Wilkesboro being back, I mean, it's great. I mean, it's already been back, so it kind of feels redundant to say that, but certainly being back in a points paying form, I think is good for the sport and everything. And hopefully it stays on the schedule. I mean, they're still trying to figure out the schedule for next year, but it'd be a shame that, considering we had 2 great races on tracks that have been, returned to the schedule in the form of North Wilkesboro and Chicagoland. It'd be a shame if both of them were on schedule next year, or one of them wasn't on the schedule. It would be total miss by NASCAR here. So it's definitely going to be a lot of things that they have to figure out here, but I would try to keep both of them on schedule for sure. I mean, North Wilkesboro for sure, because they just put in all these upgrades and stuff and then just take it off the schedule and leave it as an all-star race definitely feels like a downgrade in a lot of ways, but especially now that it's on the schedule as a points paying race. So definitely one of the more unique tracks, I guess, that we go to, of course, with all the nostalgia on there around the track and everything, and just the way that the track is formed with the uphill downhill sections on both sides. So that does make it unique and everything. So I mean, it was definitely a very, very throwback weekend, for NASCAR and stuff. And, glad they were able to get the race in. Of course, the weather kind of delayed things a little bit there. Huge showers, a couple of hours before race time definitely put things into question for a bit, but they were able to get the race in and get it in, at a somewhat reasonable time on a Sunday night. So I guess that was good. But Yeah, we'll see what Joey Logano, I guess, what he can do here next couple of weeks. He can make some headway in the standings, but yeah, I think it's gonna come down to him and I guess Penske figuring things out, and if they can challenge Denny Hamlin here.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for Penske and for Logano. I think they just needed the opportunity to get up front and put a good car together. It's been a long year for them. And I mean, Hamlin just continues his charge towards a regular season title. Now, what does that really mean in the grand scheme of the 10 race chase? To be determined. He's figured out a way to kind of spit the bit in both formats over the years. When he was a rookie, he finished third in points in a similar-ish type format. In 2010, he had a chance to win the championship when Jimmy was on his what ended up being 5 in a row, because he beat Denny Hamlin there those last 2 races. And then you think about, the previous format with the playoffs and all that. But for me, Wilkesboro, I kind of think that Dover's already showing they're showing it on their website as the all-star race for next year. I don't know if that's intentional or not. They fuck the format with the format every single year. They need to just they need to do something with the surface of the track, grind the surface, do something, and then cut the field in half. It shouldn't be a full field race. It should actually be like the winners. That's it. Like if you've won a race, that's it. I don't even need the open anymore. Like in terms, like you can have an open race to run for whatever shits and giggles for points or whatever you have to do, but they need to, change that. If they're going to run it at Dover, they could go and make it into more of a weekend in general, and give more exclusivity to those all-stars and whatever. But I mean, I would also venture to say they kind of mailed in the throwback aspect. I think because North Wilkesboro's got the old school feel, make it the mandatory, whether it's a points race, all-star race, whatever, mandatory throwback. These people can come up with schemes. You have all these people on social media that are making great art. I mean, Josh, you've made good art and schemes and whatever. I mean, there's plenty of people out there that can go and put good throwbacks together, and run it at North Wilkesboro. Make that the throwback weekend. Since, to be fair, I love Darlington, but I'm good with them only having one race. That would open up a spot for something, whether that is putting Dover back, but that's different owners of speedways and stuff. So we'll see what happens with that. I mean, of course, I've always been a fan of Chicagoland because my drivers have generally run well there, whether it was Tony or Brad or now Chase. But I feel like there's a better chance that they'll probably drop that one off and, figure out something else, some goofy road course to run at or street course or something. But we'll see what happens, I guess. But it was nice to see. Enjoyed I think they could have done more with throwing back, showing the videos from '96. I think it would have been pretty cool. I appreciated the pre and post race having Jimmy Johnson on. Didn't totally seem all biased for Legacy Motor Club. He was able to do a really good job. Marty Party sounding like he was a 6-pack in from the moment he started the show, and then sounding like he had a 12-pack by the time we were doing a post-race show. There was a great vibe, great fan turnout, and that's the kind of events that NASCAR needs to be doing at this point, to get people to show up, people to come back, go and educate instead of, doing goofy, gimmicks and whatever, to get people to come back in. And honestly, I'm jealous of Joey Logano having one of the greatest trophies that exists in all sports, which is basically a miniature moonshine still. Was his trophy for winning the Window World 450. So, as somebody who has partaken in moonshine, probably a bit too much at times, that was a cool trophy for him. So, credit to Joey Logano there. His 38th career victory. We'll go to the points standings. So yeah, Denny Hamlin is the points leader, has got a 68-point lead on Reddick. Reddick is 19 ahead of Blaney. I think if Blaney had neffed up on that speeding with, I think he would have likely been in a scenario to make up some ground there. Ty Gibbs with his speeding penalty, he's going to wonder, lost stage points there, but solidly in fourth. He's going to lock into the chase after this weekend. The battle really starts at Clyde. From him to Christopher Bell is 60 points. So that's Elliott, Larson, Hocevar, Briscoe, Busher, Bell. So that can be made up in a race. So that's something to look at. What is it? 88, so 80, 76 points to Suarez. Suarez is 11th. That's another pod there that I would say from 46 points all the way to Logano, from Suarez to Logano, so there's still room there. And then Cindric on the cutoff, 33 points ahead of Eric Jones, who had a rough night there. Prix, a further 15 back. I think basically we're getting down to the point where I think Brad Keselowski's probably your last driver, and it's borderline the way he's been running for a while now. At 58 points out, is really the last car that I think could make a run there. Todd Gilliland gets into the in-season challenge final versus Ryan Blaney. So two Fords in a year where Ford has had just a brutal year in general. Great weekend for them in terms of what happened in North Wilkesboro, across the board. And then now they're going to get the PR for the in-season challenge there. SVG, 15 points behind Bubba and 30 behind Byron. So a chance to possibly get up to 12th in points, maybe even more, the way he's been running. So there's that. Let us get to the Truck Series, Faith Fest 250. There was a lot of faith. There wasn't a whole lot of wrecking. Unfortunately for Landon Huffman and Timmy Hill, they weren't able to qualify. Because they actually did do qualifying, I believe, right? Yeah, because it wasn't set by metrics. So yeah, unfortunately for Hoffman and Timmy Hill, they got left out there, and some cellar dwellers, because they run every single week, made it in there. But Chandler Smith ends up going and getting a really strong points day, 3 points under max score as well. Third and second place finishes in the stages. Leads the most laps. Biggest margin of victory ever on a short track and truck series history. Lane Riggs second, Shane Van Gisbergen third, Christian Eck is fourth, Landon Lewis fifth, Gio Ruggiero, William Clyde Elliott the second, Fries and Heim driving the 5 for Tricon, and then Ty Majeski from 27th to 10th did an alternate strategy, won stage 2, and rounded out top 10. Caden Honeycutt got a couple of stage points, finished 11th after winning both a pro late model and the super late model, or just a late model events for the Cars Tour the night before. Ben Rhodes 14th. Christopher Bell started 3rd, 15th for him. Daniel Hemrick finished 21st. He got stage points. Andres Perez 23rd. Grant Enfinger, after winning at Lime Rock, finished 25th. Carson Osavar led the second most laps in this race, finished second in stage 1, but was relegated to 27th by the end. So that is 4 for 34 laps. Last caution was after the end of stage 2. There was only 2 incidents during the day. It was LaJoy and the 4 of Donovan Strauss, whoever he is, and then Luke Baldwin spinning there just before the end of stage 2. This race was pretty straightforward. Once we got back under green for that second stage, Chandler Smith was hooked up, and for Front Row Motorsports, 1-2 finish for them. Lane Riggs likely to be moving up to the Cup Series next year. Having that carrot out there for sure is helping. But Front Row seems to be hitting on all cylinders, and with considering the Tricon and the lack of closing that Caden Honeycutt's had this year, I think it's opening a door for Ford, which has struggled in general across NASCAR this year, to possibly go and sneak a championship opportunity there, or sneak a championship this year in the Truck Series, because of how good Lane Riggs is. But I think Chandler Smith showed that we can't dismiss him either after what he did. Right, Josh?
Yeah, I think, Chandler Smith made his statement here. I think for him, definitely this is a statement victory and puts him within striking distance of the championship lead here. So this is his second win on the year in the Truck Series, just a big statement here. I mean, he won at Daytona the very first race of the year, but now North Wilkesboro is 3rd in the standings now, winning here. It's definitely a big statement, of course, especially with Lane Riggs, how he's been this entire season. And of course, last year Lane Riggs won this race when they raced back in the spring last year. So for Chandler Smith, 8 seconds margin of victory over his teammate there. So huge win there, record for a short track in the Truck Series history. So definitely a huge win there for him, for sure. And of course, kind of similar feel as the Cup race here, with with them having a 99 lap run to the finish there. So kind of similar as what the Cup Series had in a way. So that kind of leads to that big of a gap there between first and second there. So definitely a huge win for Chandler Smith. Lane Riggs, I mean, won the opening stage, of course, and everything, but I guess couldn't keep up with his teammate there at the end. And it's kind of surprising. I would have expected Lane Riggs to probably win this race because he's been very good on short track. And I guess, some of the issues there, Lane Riggs had issues with his cool shirt, I guess, with the heat and everything, all that stuff. But just ended up one spot less than what he needed there. But I guess also we talked about Shane Van Gisbergen in the Cup race. I mean, third place here in the short track here. So definitely was good homework, good help for him for Sunday, of course. So yeah, it was good there. Who else? I guess yeah, for Honeycutt, finished lap down on 11th. So I guess he lost some points to Lane Riggs there, of course, and I guess yeah, lost also to Chandler Smith there as well. Although he did get stage points in the first stage there, so yeah, good for him on that. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting race for sure. And then of course also Hocevar led laps, and yeah, he ended up finishing 2 laps down, cut his left front tire there, so bad deal for him there. But yeah, I guess as far as like the point standings goes, I mean, still looks like, I mean, Lane Riggs should take this out to win the regular season title, but I guess the door is still open there for his teammate Chandler Smith. And then of course Honeycutt, if he can, you know, put more consistency together here. So it's going to be interesting here in the next couple of races here before the Truck Series begins their playoff here. But yeah, we'll see how they perform. I guess they'll be at IRP this week for I guess while Cup and O'Reilly are at Indianapolis. So be another short track race here, and I guess yeah, we'll see if Chandler can continue his momentum here in another short track race.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna see. I mean, the battle with Riggs and Honeycutt, that's the real battle for this championship. They've been the 2 best drivers most of this year. You can see it just based on point standings. But you know, you got 3 drivers in Smith, Eckes, Ruggiero that are kind of lurking. And Smith, of course, now has won 2 races. So there's only 4 drivers in the series that are actual regulars. I don't consider Corey Heim a regular. He's just declared for points so he doesn't lose his rookie status for next year in Cup. But yeah, I mean, for Riggs, head and shoulders above the rest, but his teammate goes out there and gets a big win, his second win of the year. Inserts himself into the title picture. I think those points for those 3 drivers are going to be crucial. Smith, Eckes, Ruggiero. Then it's really a pretty tight battle. It's only 75 points separating 6th all the way to 12th. Friesen and Ankrum are actually tied for the cutoff. Garcia's 11 points out. You have Butterbean Queen is 23 back there. And then Andres Perez is 31 back. And yeah, and then so there's still, what is it, I think 3 or 4 races left in their regular season. 3 more races left in the regular season for them. They'll race at Indianapolis, take a couple weeks off, and race 2 races in a row, Richmond and New Hampshire, to end their regular season. So crunch time is here. For anybody basically after Ty Majeski on, it's kind of a sweat. Would figure that those door sport trucks, the 88th and the 99, will make it there. Emmerich and Finger will make it more than likely. Then it becomes more of a sweat for the 98, I think, or 99, whichever one it is. Yeah, the 98 for Garcia, and then for Friesen, Ankrum, Garcia, Queen, and anybody else who wants to give themselves a chance. Credit to Landon Lewis. Only has been eligible to run the old whatever short tracks and road courses. So he's only run a couple of races before. Recently, only run 5 races, and he's already ahead of a few drivers that have been running most of the year, and I think he's gonna pass a couple more here as the rest of this season goes on, which I would definitely be embarrassed to be one of those people um, if that was the case. You'd have to really think about employing those guys, no matter how much money they may have. Yeah, so we'll move on to IndyCar next. I've got too many things going here. Too many tabs. Yeah. So the Indy cars were in Nashville. Had the initial lead in was supposed to be the World Cup final. They were doing that, but then in the end, thunderstorms and stuff and had occurred because it's Nashville in the middle of summer. And there was dark clouds during the pre-race show that they had going on, and then because it went extra time, it ran on further, and unfortunate circumstance, I would say. But in the end, they did get the race in, cut the distance because of the heat, ran it on Monday, and 225 instead of 300 laps or whatever. And it was Alex Palou gets another victory. It wasn't straightforward for him, but utilized good fortune and the way that cautions landed to get the victory, led the most laps, 5th win of the year for him. Joseph Newgarden, of course, been battling the injuries all year. Oval Masters, home race, finished 2nd. David Malukas from tailback after wrecking himself earlier in the on Saturday in practice, having to go to the hospital, come back, finished 3rd. Scott McLaughlin 4th. So Penske 2, 3, 4. Then Felix Rosenqvist 5th. The Indianapolis 500 champion, Marcus Ericsson, Pato Award, Mick Schumacher, best finish of his IndyCar career, Kiffin Simpson in 9th, so another great, decent run for him there at Nashville. And then Kyle Kirkwood, who started on pole, led 24 laps early, but pit strategy sequences and the like relegated him to 10th. There were 16 cars in the lead lap. Lee Foster led 10 laps early in the race, finished 17th. Will Power led a couple laps, finished 20th. So that was that. Dale Coyne Racing had a mixed weekend, had issues with pace in general. The ECR cars both hit the wall, even after starting in the top 10. Marcus Armstrong had a huge, very long pit stop, mechanical issues. Knocked him out of the deal. So, yeah, I mean, for Alex Palou, once upon a time, he wasn't an oval racer, couldn't win on ovals. And now he's won on 3 different ovals and has gotten himself, with 6 races to go, in a very solid position to continue his streak of championships and put himself like right in the crosshairs of his going to be soon to be former teammate Sir Scott Dixon and AJ Foyt for a number of championships in IndyCar, because Alex Palou is about to go and win his 5th IndyCar championship, and it doesn't matter what you throw at him. And this 10 team and Barry Wanzer, DHL, Honda, they seem to just be there when it counts, and they're able to just execute better. And I mean, you just have to take your hat off to them and say he's IndyCar's daddy.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Palou is inevitable, seemingly, and even in this race, majority of it, Penske trio. David Malukas led a ton of laps there, but it was Alex Palou at the end of the day, kind of benefiting from his teammate in a way there with getting into Alexander Rossi in turn 3. I guess Alexander Rossi was trying to pit and didn't really coordinate that well, and Scott Dixon ran in the back of him there. But because that happened during the pit cycle, that allowed Alex Palou to cycle out front. And I guess, yeah, they were able to figure out the car, work on it, clean air. He was able to run up front the rest of the race and never yielded the lead to any of the Penske cars, never had a problem having to challenge Joseph Newgarden late in the going there. After the yellow for Dennis Hauger late, had an opportunity there, but Palou was able to hold on to the lead there. So at this point, it feels inevitable that he's going to win another championship, 4th straight here in the IndyCar series. So on his way to become a 5-time champion here. So it's crazy how dominant he's been and everything. It didn't even feel like he was the best car, right? Because that probably was David Malukas probably had the best car, if we're being really honest, of how he ran in that race, or Newgarden maybe. But Palou was able to just hold on to it and fend off the challenge from all the Penske cars there. So he benefits from that. Of course, Spain won on Sunday for the World Cup in soccer, so in FIFA, so gets to see his country win, and then he wins, so he's definitely had a good weekend there and everything, so that's good. Good for him. Of course, Newgarden, still the Oval Master, finished second. Didn't even lead any laps though, of course, so kind of an anomaly for Joseph Newgarden. Never, for as good as he is, ran up front, finished second, started second, but never had the lead in the race ever. So yeah, very interesting there. And then of course David Malukas, 3 pit stops for him compared to the rest of the top 10 with 4. So definitely the strategy that they had to employ to get him to the front worked. Of course, stayed out on their first yellow there, first pit stop. So given an opportunity to get up to the lead there, and he was able to hold on to it after some of the other guys sank to the back, like Louis Foster had issues holding on to the lead after that first restart. So yeah, for Malukas, incredible pace, incredible speed for him. Of course, great recovery after, we didn't even know if he'd be racing here this weekend after his practice crash, and they were considering putting in Connor Daly as a substitute, but he was able to make it back. Of course, had little bruises and stuff, I guess, on his knee, but was able to make it back and start from the back of the field and get to the lead and end up finishing 3rd. So overall, great weekend for David Malukas there. So it was definitely a interesting one there. Of course, McLaughlin finishing 3rd. He led laps. He was up front as well. So good run for him. Marcus Ericsson was also up front, had an opportunity to run up in 2nd, I think. Ended up finishing 2nd or 6th. Pato O'Ward. Yeah, Pato O'Ward, this is just very, because I think he's had a couple of good runs here since they went to the Oval here, but kind of uncharacteristic, kind of just being out there back half of the top 10, never really was ever in contention here, and ended up climbing back to finish in 7th there. So yeah, good run for him. Schumacher, best finish on Oval as well. So he had definitely a lot of action there, and of course, the only real dramatics was not Graham Hall, but Scott Dixon, I guess, yeah, getting into Alexander Rossi. Very interesting incident there, but I guess, yeah, for Alexander Rossi, kind of similar to, the Cup race, I guess, with pit road. Alex Bowman got into Tyler Reddick there, and this kind of similar here with how he just kind of abruptly changed lanes to go pit without really signaling anything, and then of course Dixon had nowhere to go and had no idea that he was pitting and ran in the back of him and completely cleaned him out there. So yeah, really interesting to see how that kind of unfolded there. But then I guess Dixon was still able to finish the race somehow, be it 7 laps down there. So yeah, it was definitely a interesting race. And then we talked about the timing of the race, right? They tried. I mean, this is kind of the double-edged sword, right, of having the IndyCar series tied to Fox like this, and having Fox kind of dictate things in their way, right? I mean, obviously they're trying to maximize viewership, trying to get the most exciting racing possible, because you could have gone to a road course, you could have gone to Laguna Seca, where it's not going to rain like this in the middle of July, right? And got this in on time, right? But it would have maybe not been the most exciting race to watch there. And you go to Nashville, where it's been, again, oval racing. We talk about oval racing being one of the best products for IndyCar, and then they go to Nashville. You have Midwest thunderstorms in the hot middle of the summer, rain out, and then they get delayed until Monday. So then on top of the World Cup going to extra time, potentially penalty kicks there, definitely was an issue there for the timing of it and everything. And then they had the lightning delays and all that stuff, so they never were able to get this in when they could have gotten it in. So just kind of a bad circumstances that led to this. So can't really fault them for trying, I guess, but just shows kind of the other side of that if it doesn't go right. So I guess they weren't able to capitalize on the viewership and everything with that, but unfortunately they get relegated to Monday. But at least they got the race in. But of course, I guess with the heat and everything, I don't why they start at 3 p.m. whatever, cutting the race from I think it was supposed to be a scheduled 300 laps, and they cut it down to 225. So they ended up not running the full original advertised distance there. So kind of a bummer there due to the heat. But I've also seen Borchetta talking about wanting to go back to downtown and everything. And we need ovals in IndyCar for sure. And even though this one maybe wasn't as good as past Nashville races, definitely need to have ovals here, and definitely think Nashville oval's good fit for IndyCar for sure. So hopefully they continue to race here on the oval here. But yeah, I mean, as far as the season goes, Alex Palou continues to show why he's Alex Palou,
and why he's going to be a 5-time IndyCar champion by this time next month. But yeah, I mean, Borchetta wanting to go back to the streets, like, you're not going to have it because of the Tennessee Titans and their new stadium. It's not going to happen. So you need the stadium to be built, and then you need the Adams family, the who owns the Titans, to actually sign off on that too. So it's all fine and well to want to go and run into town, but how about you go and repave and do work and get the fairgrounds going, and then we could have a real discussion. You want to see Indy cars in basically a cereal bowl? Now that would be fun. It won't happen, but a Cup Series is more likely, but we'll see. Palou has an 83-point lead on David Malukas, who's 4 points ahead of Kyle Kirkwood. Christian Lundgaard with a struggling performance on ovals. Still is the lead free agent out there, fourth in points, 17 ahead of his teammate Pato O'Ward. And Then Newgarden in 6th, Rosenquist a point ahead of McLaughlin. They're 7th and 8th. Marcus Ericsson 9th. So he's the he's the second of the Andretti cars, but there's possibility he may not be back there. And then Rinus VeeKay, who's also in play for free agency, is in 10th, a point ahead of Scott Dixon. Good battle, basically from 10th all the way down to 15th with Kiffin, Simpson, Will Power, Armstrong, Rahal, one of his worst weekends of the year. No pace, had mechanical issues in qualifying, then had issues in the race too, so it was just terrible for him. Rossi's year has been forgettable for sure. I mean, there was talk. I was listening to a post-race thing coming from work. You had Jack Arute, who sounds like he's drank plenty of Borchetta bourbon before and after any broadcast he does. He was talking to Todd Ault, who basically co-owns and sponsors the Dale Coyne cars and then has connections to a bunch of other teams in the series. Credit to Mick Schumacher, finally ahead of Stingray Rob after what has been a pretty brutal year for him. I mean, you got certain drivers that Kyle Collette's in play as well for free agency. I mean, I think ECR is set, but they have bigger problems than just, even though drivers I don't think are the issue, they got bigger problems. Dale Coyne's always an open kind of team. Roman Grosjean's been trash most of the year. They've had races where they've been completely out to lunch, especially on road courses recently with Hauger. They stunk here at Nashville with Hauger. So I don't know. Of course, he's being loaned by Andretti. So it's possible they might call him up. There was a rumor that Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan might sell their charter, one of their charters, because of the leader circle. So there's, NASCAR, their charters with the Cup Series are exorbitant fees, and there really aren't any on sale. So it's like, okay, well, IndyCar has charters, so maybe those get a little more value. Somebody might buy into AJ Foyt's team and maybe open a door for, say, Miles Rowe, or I don't know, somebody from the Lights Indy NXT division. But plenty to see who's going to go to the 9 car for Ganassi to replace Scott Dixon, who's going to go to the 60 for MSR. The third Andretti car is also in play. So those just some of the things that we're going to be looking at in silly season as we go through this next month or so of the Indy cars. Formula One, Belgian Grand Prix. We're soon to have the Belgian Grand Prix be on an alternating schedule. I think after next year, they'll be alternating races. So then it'll be after 27, it'll be in 29 again, which is a shame. It's one of the classic circuits. It's one of the great circuits in all of motorsport. And when it comes to what took place on Sunday and this weekend, Andrea Kimi Antonelli last year was nowhere at this race. Went out in Q1, finished 16th. This year, qualified on pole, had to do some work to get back up there, but then ended up going and getting another win. And won by just under 2 seconds over Charles Leclerc, former winner at Belgium. Max Verstappen, born in Belgium, finished third. Sir Lewis Hamilton fourth. Oscar Piastri fifth. Isaac Hadjar, Lando Norris round out your top 7. Hadjar, who had to start, who took power unit penalties and stuff, went to the back. They alternated tires because they had caution because of Woody getting knocked off in the first lap. Pitted, put medium tires on, then came back the next lap, put hards on, and ran the rest of the race, and finished 6th. Bortoleto and Arvid Lindblad and Franco Colapinto rounding out your point scorers. Great race for Lindblad, the rookie, for Toro Rosso. Bortoleto giving Audi crucial points. You had Gasly, Lawson. I mean, it started from Colapinto all the way to Hulkenberg. Colapinto, Gasly, Lawson, Hulkenberg were all close together there late in the race. Then another tier down is the Haas's and the Williams. And then Valtteri Bottas, who got in the way late in the race there. And then the Astons and, of course, Woody Russell. But Kimi Antonelli is showing why Toto Wolff's so obsessed with him. Just the performance he has had this year. 6 wins in 10 races to George's 2, and then Ferrari each having 1 apiece. So 19 going on 20 and looking like someone who's a wily veteran. Of course, third, second half of the season, plenty of racing to go. Plenty likelihood that the way that Mercedes is doing things, he could have mechanicals and this could flip back and forth. Last year, I think in a lot of ways, I thought that Piastri had it won. Then it flipped after the Dutch Grand Prix, and Lando Norris got the momentum and was able to come around him and win the world championship. So it's possible Woody could do that. But as it stands right now, Andrea Kimi Antonelli has all the momentum.
Yeah, he's got all the momentum right now. And yeah, you talked about how, after this summer break, could it change? Could it, flip back to Woody Russell or even Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton if things really got crazy? I mean, Lewis is second in the standings right now, but, that would also depend on Antonelli starting to have a lot of misfortune right now. And, I think I had said last week that maybe the window would open if Antonelli had a bad Belgian Grand Prix, and he won the Belgian Grand Prix. So I think it kind of shows he's matured, he's composed, he knows what's at stake here. And yeah, going into the summer break with that kind of momentum gives you confidence to come back and continue that, rather than you go into the summer break, the lead's shrinking, and now you have to start doing things to keep that lead and everything once you come back. So yeah, for him, it's a great way to go in the summer break. Doesn't mean things can't change, but it's definitely a great position of leverage to go into, because we go to the summer break for F1. But I mean, I don't think anything would go differently here, but certainly, it's been very interesting here for Antonelli. But I mean, Charles Leclerc definitely had an opportunity as well here to win, but yeah, he still continues to, I mean, he's won now, but still continues to finish second here. And definitely kind of the virtual safety car helped them there. But, definitely they were able to keep up with Antonelli there in a way there. But for I guess Lewis Hamilton definitely had an eventful race for sure, and still in position. I mean, with fourth place finish, they're still only 45 points back, and of course George Russell, their DNF. So the door's open for Lewis Hamilton potentially, but I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be possible for him to catch up to Antonelli here or anything. But yeah, and then of course Verstappen finishing third. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where he goes or what he decides to do with the contract, but at least had a better race, kind of showing the speed, I guess, of the Red Bull team and what they're able to do. His teammate Isaac Hadjar, of course, finished sixth, so good overall, I guess, team race or team result for Red Bull, and kind of showing that when things go normally for them, they can at least have some pace there and be competitive and finish in the points there. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how that plays out the rest of the season. But yeah, for Antonelli, I mean, 6 wins, very composed here. Don't think it will change here, but we've been wrong before. Like we said, I think we were both in agreement. We thought Piastri would kind of just carry things out and win the championship last year. He didn't. We go back to 2021. I mean, gonna have to go back and look at who was in front at this time, but whoever was in front at this time, whether it was Max or Lewis, we thought one of them was going to win the championship, and then it ended up being flipped to the other, which ended up being Max back at that time. So there's definitely still time for drama. It's definitely not over by any means here in F1, but certainly with the pace that Mercedes as a team has had this whole season compared to the rest of the field, it just seems like that they more than likely will win the championship and constructors, and Kimi Antonelli win the championship as the drivers' champion.
Yeah, plenty of time, plenty of races to go. We still don't know about if they're going to run the race in what do you call them, Bahrain and Qatar and Abu Dhabi. Qatar and Abu Dhabi are the last 2 races of the year. As it stands, I may not happen. So that's 2 less races. It would leave they would have to either find replacement tracks, or it would leave Las Vegas as the finale. Now that would be crazy. If Las Vegas was a finale, the North America, like after Singapore, the last 4 races are either in North or South America. That's pretty crazy for Mexico, if that ends up that way. So, yeah, we'll get into that accordingly. But Antonelli, 45 up on Hamilton, 50 up on Russell. Leclerc fourth, 23 points behind or ahead of Norris, and 28 points behind Russell. Norris and Piastri 5th and 6th. Verstappen and Hadjar 7th and 8th. Piastri only a point ahead of Verstappen. Gasly, the best of the rest there, in 9th, 3 points at a Lawson. Lindblad 11th in points, so credit to him as a rookie. Colapinto, Bierman, Bortoletto, your double-digit point scorers as of now. Hulkenberg still hasn't scored a point this year. I feel like that's going to come around with some of the upgrades that Audi's going to have. Mercedes in front in the constructors. Ferrari 90 points out of McLaren for second, and then 44 points McLaren out of Red Bull. The Alpines and Toro Rosso are tied for 5th. Haas is 11 or 10 points out of Williams, who was only 1 point out of Audi. Then Aston Martin and Cadillac battling for the rear in the constructors' standings. Alrighty, let us move over to WRC Rally Estonia. The standings saw Sami Pajari get his first World Rally Championship victory in dominant fashion. 19.5 seconds over his teammate Oliver Solberg. Then the Hyundais of Adrian Formeau and Thierry Neuville finished third and fourth. 6 seconds separating those two. Ogier finished fifth. Efren Evans sixth. So those are Martinez, and I'm not even trying to say his name. For Ford, best of the Fords. Esapekalapi was eighth for Hyundai. John Armstrong for Ford, ninth. And then WRC2 winner actually scored a world championship point. Vervaes for Skoda, getting the victory there by 7.6 seconds. So if Pajari gets that victory, the championship standings moving forward, Efren Evans now is 25 points out of Takamoto Katsuda. Pajari is only 8 points behind Katsuda. Ogier is 13 back. Oliver Solberg is 22 back. Neuville and Formeau tied 6th and 7th in points, or they're 6th and 7th, but tied for the same amount of points. Then Lappy and then Hayden Padden. Johan Rosell with his 20 points scored so far this year, and world championship points, let alone with his how he's done in Rally 2, has the lead over Leo Rosell. That's Lancia versus Citroen. Then Robert Vervaes, who won that race, and finished 10th. In overall is 14th. So that's the World Rally Championship. Their next rally will be Rally Finland in a couple of weeks' time. Then they'll be running basically a rally a month for the last four. May end up having to replace one of them or run one less because it's Saudi Arabia ending the year. We'll see with that. Indy NXT also was at Nashville this past weekend. The results of the race saw Matteo Nannini lead all but one lap from pole. His teammate Nikita Johnson second. Miles Rowe, former winner at Nashville, started fourth, finished third. Max Garcia, great run for him. Max Taylor, Andretti, so two Able cars, third and fourth, then three Andretti cars, Max Taylor, Pearson, Josh Pearson, Lockie Hughes, Jack Beaton, Alessandro De Tullio, and then Bryce Aaron, rounding out your top 10. The standings heading into the next race, Nikita Johnson 1 point ahead of Enzo Fittipaldi, who finished 11th. Primož Kucharek had a terrible weekend, finished outside the top 15. He's now 25 points back, but still 3-driver battle for the championship. Miles Rowe in 6th, behind Max Taylor, Lockie Hughes. That's 9 points Hughes and Rowe. Then Rowe's 12 points with De Tullio. Beaton and Nannini 2 points separating those two guys. Pearson rounding out the top 10. Juan Manuel Correa hit the wall early. So we'll see how he is. Garcia moves up to 12th. So we will see the Lights drivers back at Portland. Then they'll take some weeks off and then race at Milwaukee Mile. So They'll race at Portland, they'll race Milwaukee Mile, and then run a doubleheader at Laguna Seca to end the year. So 4 more races left in the championship, 3 drivers having a chance to get that promotion into IndyCar next year, possibly. Some good rides out there available. The standings for Formula E, C, we go, I don't know, so Tokyo E Prix. So yeah, so right now, Pascal Wehrlein, 9-point lead on Mitch Evans, Porsche versus Jaguar. Oliver Rowland for Nissan, former defending world champion there. In third, 3 points out of Juan Manuel or Antonio Felix da Costa, sorry. 5 points out of former champion Jake Dennis. So all these guys are champions of the series, the top, I think, top 5 of all, 4 of the top 5. Then Eduardo Mortara and Nico Muller amongst the ones that are actually competitive for the Tokyo E Prix, which will be a double double header, and then take a few weeks off and go to London to finish their season out. And then NHRA was at Snorhoma for the Denso Sonoma Nationals. The results saw Greg Stanfield in Pro Stock win, Jordan Vandergriff in Funny Car for John Force Racing, and then Doug Coletta in Top Fuel. In the challenge races, Sean Langdon won in Top Fuel, Dallas Glenn in Pro Stock. Then the Pro Stock motorcycle call-outs saw Gage Herrera win, and then Funny Cars saw Ron Capps win. They're not showing anybody locked in for the countdown here yet, but Tony Langdon got just over 4 rounds on Coletta. Tony Stewart tied with Matty Gordon for 5th in points. They both have 1 win apiece. But it's 70 points. Milliken to Tony Schumacher, and then 85 back to Sean Reed. So there is a little bit of an opening, but really the top 10 in Top Fuel is pretty much set. Ron Capps, even with the win for Vandergriff, still up by 74 points. Jack Beckman, 88 points back. Matt Hagan, just over 100 back, 108 back. J.R. Todd, 131. So decent points battle for the top 5. They're basically, there's no chance any of them other cars are really going to make a run. Dallas Glenn, 21 points out of Greg Anderson. Greg Stanfield goes out, moves himself up to a tie for 3rd in Pro Stock. His son Aaron, 5th in points. Eric Latino is, 34 points out of Cody Anderson. So there is a chance there. Don't know about Delco or Kramer making a run, but that's pretty likely set there. Top 4 in Pro Stock Motorcycle are locked in. That's Gadsden, the defending champion, along with his teammate Gage Herrera. Then the 2 MSR bikes of the Smiths, Angie and then Matt. He missed a race too, so you have to give that consideration. And from basically 7th on through 11th is only separated by 57 points. So there is a chance one of those riders is going to miss the playoff here. You have Chase Van Zandt, Ryan Ayler, Gianna Evaristo on an MSR bike, then Braden Davis, Clayton Howie, and then Steve Johnson, the wily veteran who, the ageless one. Yeah, so they'll be at Seattle this weekend for the second part of the Western Swing. F2 and F3. So F2, I don't know why it's showing me that. Okay. So Nick, that's what I want. All right. So they changed the website. Okay. So Dirksen won the sprint, and then the feature race was won by Rafa Kamara. We'll go to, sprint race: Dirksen, Stenshorn, Boganovic, Soloff, Dunn, Kamara, Belinsky, and Gotha. Your point scorers: Seb Montoya just outside the points in ninth. Colton Herta was 13th. Kushmini 15th. Then the feature race saw Kamara, Interpuvisak, Soloff, Dunn, Mini, Villagomez. Colton Herta was 7th in the feature. Ritomo Miata, Mary Boya, Stenshorn, round out your point scores there. The standings moving forward, there's still a decent amount of races to go. I mean, at least 4 rounds, 4 rounds, 8 total races. Nicholas Soloff is 27 points out of Gabriele Mini, who is 9 points ahead of Rafa Kamara. Alex Dunn, 4th. That's not what I wanted to do. 3, 4, 5. Kushmini 6th in points. 15, 16. Colton Herta has an opportunity to make a move up. He's only 12 points behind Villagomez. So that's 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11. So yeah, Interpuvisak is in 10th with 46. Colton Herta currently has 26 points. So, but it's very tightly bunched from Villagomez, who has 38 points on, to even Shields, who has scored 10 points this year. Emerson Fittipaldi's only scored 10 points as well, so on and so forth. Formula 3 saw let's see here, Nakamura win the sprint and Rivera win the feature race. We'll go to the sprint. Jin Nakamura, Brando Bador, Pedro Claro, Mateo Konagi, Taito Kato, so another Teofel Nile, Tuka Tappinen, Ernesto Rivera, Giusti, and Stromstead, rounding out your top 10 in the sprint. In the feature, it was Ernesto Rivera, Yamakoshi, Freddie Slater, Kolnagi, Mache Glace, or Gladish, whatever, Kato, Tappinen, Nakamura, Giusti, Stromstead. Problems the whole weekend for Ugo Ugochukwu, lost a ton of points. Slater getting that podium finish in the feature race, cut the lead down to 1 after just a god-awful weekend for Ugochukwu. Only 3 more weekends left: Budapest, Monza, and Madrid for the Mad Ring, which will be a brand new street course. Teofel Nile is in 3rd. Good battle from basically Teofel Nile down to Kato is only 20 points. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 drivers there. So we'll see how that goes for those guys next week or this weekend. Alrighty then. So let us move forward. Trying to see Where are we at? Okay, yeah, so we're all right. Yeah, let us get into the truck series at IRP, one of the original tracks for the truck series when they started in 1995. 38 for 36. So two trucks will go home. What's it called? Trucks. I'm going to go to truck series news. The 5 will be driven by Harrison Burton, Parker Eatman, 42, Nick Sanchez in the 77. So Gavin Boschel, who's driving TA2 for Toyota and I think Nitro Motorsports. He'll be in the 1. Jackson Masenko for Reum, Harrison Burton in the 5 for Tricon, Mozak back in the 7. Well, the other regulars there, Derek Lemke. Trying to remember who he's married to. I feel like Derek Lemke is married to Natalie Decker, but I might be mixing him up.
You're right.
Yeah. Okay. So hopefully he drives better than her. Low bar to meet. But Connor Daly driving the Colleague 25. Tony Breidinger trying to make a start on the 2nd Rackley War Truck. Muniz, Black Cat Fireworks. Might need to put some fireworks in those engines. Parker Eatman in the 42. I mentioned Landon Lewis is going to run out the rest of the year. Timmy Hill trying to make another race after missing out last week. Michael Christopher Jr. in the Halmar Friesen 62. Jonathan Schaefer in this MBM 69. Boyd back in the 76, his own 76. Nick Sanchez in the 77. Justin Carroll. Caston Everidge for the Caleb Costner team. All right. Let's see. So, Josh, you get first dibs here. Truck series at IRP. Who do you have to win?
I'm gonna stick with what's easy. I'll go with Lane Riggs to win here. And I guess my wild card, I'll say Justin Haley.
Yeah, I mean, the Mopars are definitely wild cards because they haven't really shown a whole hell of a lot of pace most of the year. I mean, they've shown it on road courses, I guess, and some moments here and there, but it's very rare, few and far between. I'm going to stay in Front Row Motorsports, and I'll just go with Chandler Smith after what he just did last week at North Wilkesboro. I think he continues the momentum there. And my wild card, and I think my wild card for the remainder of the season is going to be, or for one of us should be Landon Lewis, at least until he gets to a certain point in points, I think. And Landon Lewis, the protege of the great Ron Hornaday, the GOAT of the truck series, amongst others, but Landon Lewis has been someone that he's been working with for many years. So, and he looks the part of guys that used to be that have crashed on Hornaday's couch. O'Reilly series at IMS. We will get into that. The Pennzoil 250. They have a weird drafting package there this weekend to keep the cars all together, so make it seem more interesting. Pocono. Yeah, it's a Pocono, similar to Pocono. Smithley back in the 0. Carson Goppel's running the 1 the rest of the year. Ryan Ellis, I didn't know. Eddie Triconis is back. Brian Ellis, Bulicki 07. Ross Chastain in the 9. Excuse me. Corey Dinners, Brent Cruz. Playing Rajak Ruth in the 32 this week, so that's not going to help him points wise. JJ Alien, the 38 RSS car. Nathan Burden of 42. Wow, Brendan Poole running the Samantha and Kyle Busch Bundle of Joy fund on his number 44. Lavarska there. Blake Lothian 53 for Gase. Joey Gase in his own 55. Nick Sanchez in the 87. William Clyde Elliott the second in the 88. Preston Pardis driving the 92. Doesn't say anybody for the 91 as of now, or the 47. I am going to pick Carson Kvapil. At some point, he has to win his first race. And this is a track where the junior motorsports cars, with this package, I think it's they have a great advantage. So Carson Kvapil, if he can have track position, good tires, it's a track which Rodney Childers in his heyday with Kevin Harvick was able to do very well at. So I'll pick Carson Kvapil, and then my wild card, I have to go through the points just to make sure. Oh, jeez. Why is it showing the points from? Oh no. Oh yeah, that's right, because I took a week off. My bad. Got all the way to 24th, 27, so 14. So my wild card, Fast Pasta. Gotta go with Viking Motorsports. They've been really fast this year. Been a revelation at times. Could be an opportunity race for them. All right, Josh. I left the fastball hanging right down the middle. So, you going with Justin Allgaier, or you're gonna go with somebody else?
Yeah, actually, I don't know. This is very tough because we know what Justin Allgaier can do. Should have won last year, arguably. Yeah, we'll just go with Justin Allgaier here. Yeah, Allgaier winning the race Pennzoil 250 there, and I guess my wild card, I will go with let me see here. You took Fast Pasta. I will take, man, that was a good pick there. I'll take Ryan Sieg.
Okay. I was gonna say that because I was gonna say that, Brennan Poole, they got some good momentum going, but I don't know from race to race, for racetrack to racetrack. Ryan Sieg, definitely, you never know with them, but I thought, Harrison Burton has had good success at Indianapolis over the years. Of course, it's been a god awful year for the Sam Hunt team. Clemens with the what do you call the Haas factory connection. They usually run well at Indianapolis as well. So I think any of those would have been solid here with this particular type of track. And then, of course, you got Daytona coming up as well. So that's another opportunity too. All right. So now the Brickyard Cup Series, Brickyard 400, one of the majors, one of the ones everyone wants to win. Darrell Wallace Jr., we were on our trip, Amy and I, in Boston last July when they ran this race, and we were at a brewery doing a tasting while Bubba was able to hold off Kyle Larson for the victory. So we'll be home this year. So we'll see what happens with that. Different drivers here. I mean, Hill, of course, in the 33. Casey Mears in the 62. Corey Heim driving in the 67. Daniel Dye in the 78. So nobody going home. But got some extra cars this weekend. 3 extra cars than the usual. Other than that, just whatever different sponsors, I guess, on these cars. So we'll see what that is, how it goes. So, Josh, you get first dibs here. Who's going to win the Brickyard 400 and add their name to their illustrious list of winners? That includes Paul Menard.
Yeah, Paul Maynard. I'm gonna go with Tyler Reddick. Actually, it's a bold pick considering the momentum that he's lost, but this is a good opportunity for him to right the ship, like I said earlier. So, and they've had speed. 2311's had speed at this race in the past. Bubba last year. Reddick, I think, did finish second to Kyle Larson when they came back to the oval back in 2024. So there is that. So I'll go with Tyler Reddick to win the race, and then I guess as a wild card here, it's right on the cuffs of what a wild card is, but I'm gonna go with Michael McDowell.
And Michael McDowell, who won on the road course at Indianapolis, has won. He has Cup wins, and you think about it, he has the Daytona 500, and then he's won the Indy road course. So, 2 of the biggest racetracks in the world, and he's won at both of them. Reddick was arguably the fastest car there late in the race at Pocono. But I didn't have track position. That cost him an opportunity to possibly beat Denny Hamlin to that victory, and that was when he still had a points lead. Now he's well back in the standings, so trying to make up for that and see what he can do. For me, I mean, I thought about it. I'm like, Hamlin's never won this race. It's one of the very few races that are missing in his resume, his Hall of Fame resume. But I've had another feel, and that feel is I'm going to go Homer, and I'm going to pick Chase Briscoe. The way that he's been running the last few weeks, I think the energy, everything is going good. His sprint car is running well. He's been running well. Even at Atlanta, they didn't have the best car by any means to do anything, but I think he had a car that was reasonable enough to possibly get there, but at least get a decent finish. I'm going to go with Chase Briscoe, him crying like a little baby on national TV, winning the Brickyard 400 and having his kids out there to kiss the bricks. All akin to what Tony Stewart did 21 years ago at Indianapolis, beating Candy Cane there for the victory. And then my wild card, because there's 35 Yeah, 35, there's 17, 18, yeah. So for me, wild card, I'll go Riley Herbst. Or
Not a
you know
bad
what?
idea.
No, I mean, yeah, because Riley Herbst has won here. Yeah, he's not gonna have he doesn't have a job at least with 2311. I'm sure he's gonna have a job with Legacy Motor Club next year. But it was it was either gonna be him or Todd Gilliland just for fun because he's actually trying to battle Ryan Blaney for that $1 million prize. Ryan Blaney's probably a huge favorite to get it, so definitely be paying attention at 34 car more than you usually do. Herbst we've got a 2311 kind of lean going in general and Toyota, so we'll see how that goes. All right, Josh, time to let us know all things going on iRacing gaming and sim segment.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, sim segment. Yeah, last week did some IndyCar in Nashville. Finished, I want to say 8th and 6th or 8th and 3rd there. So that was pretty good. Yeah, ran. I'm sorry. That was not right. Let's see. Yeah, started 8th, finished 9th and 1. The other finished 9th, or started 9th, finished 4th. So that's pretty good. There. Good stuff on the IndyCar side. Also did Toyota GR86 at Spa. Started 3rd, finished 2nd, so it's pretty good there too. Pretty wild racing there. Toyota GR86, especially long straights at Spa, leads to a huge tow on after Eau Rouge. It's always just wild down there, and leads to a lot of huge runs there. So because you never really get into top gear there. You kind of just stay in 5th gear all the way down through that section. So that was pretty interesting. Leads to some exciting battles where you're going 3 wide after Eau Rouge. So pretty cool there. Yeah, this week iRacing, for special event side, road special event, of course, 6 hours of Road America 6 hours in real life coming up here in a couple weeks. So yeah, iRacing mirroring that, of course. Not doing that one because I'll be trying out the iRacing Brickyard 400, so be another opportunity to win in Indianapolis, and hopefully, we were close last year. Hopefully we can close this time. Of course, Indianapolis 500 opportunity there that could have been this year to get the second Indy 500 win. But let's see if we can get a Brickyard 400 win here on the iRacing sim. Of course, add another special event certificate to the mantle, I guess, there. So yeah, that'll be the focus, I guess. Definitely started testing out the setup last weekend. Definitely started looking at things there, trying to figure out what to improve so we can be up front and not get loose in the middle of a run, which is what happened last year. And see what we can do there. So yeah, hopefully we can have a better result there. Yeah, I haven't seen anything else otherwise racing news or gaming news for sim racing, anything. Of course, NASCAR 26 in development, coming out soon. IndyCar recently announced, as well as we've mentioned before. So still, yeah, looking forward to that there. But yeah, of course, you can follow Twitch TV/usailor2 to get the iRacing streams. Definitely be streaming Brickyard 400 run there, and hopefully that turns out well. So you can go on there, follow me for all the iRacing streams on there, and then of course Twitter JP Huffine. You go on there, follow me. Of course, Jaguar season coming up here and everything, and looking forward to being able to do that again for Jacksonville and all that, and running it back, running the table like we did last year. So hopefully we can do that again. Be definitely firing off the hot takes on Twitter soon. So got that there. Of course, Josh Alpha and Photography on Instagram. You can go in there and see all my work on there. Definitely, trying to get out there and get my photos out there and all that stuff, and share all the photo content I make. And of course, you follow our podcast at Gripster Podcast on YouTube, and go in there and subscribe to our page and see all our previous episodes on there. So yeah, glad to see North Wilkesboro back. Glad to see that. Or North Wilkes. I can't say the way Dale Jr. says it. He says it with his North Wilkesboro or Burrell, whatever. Sounds like Burrel. That's what it sounds like to me.
North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, it says North Wilkesboro is how I think it reads. So
Burrell.
Yeah, Burrell, whatever. So that's how it reads.
And Toyotas.
Yeah, Toyotas. Whatever. So. Yeah, that's all I got.
All good, man. Trying to learn how to speak English like Dale Jr. is a great thing. There's a class in that, probably. There should be. I wish that did exist, kind of like how Donald Davidson teaches in University of Indiana with like a history of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I think we just need an English class that just basically is how Dale Jr. pronounces words, and then you talk about other great announcers like Lee Diffie. I would sign up for that immediately. Josh mentioned it. Gripster Podcast on YouTube. We and GSP 1428, which is a personal page as the sound. Then PG Matthew 20 on Twitter, Instagram, PGMGSP 28. Find us at podbean.com, philipgmatthew.com. We will be back for episode 325 of the Rip Strip Podcast next week, recapping everything at Indianapolis for NASCAR. We'll talk about IndyCar at Portland, the Belgian, or preview that. We'll preview the Hungarian. Oh, wait a minute. We have to pick Hungary. I was about to forget Hungary.
I was going to say that earlier, but I was going to let it slide so you can say that we forgot about it.
Hungarian Grand Prix. All right. So, preview. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, what is it? Are we going to pick who's going to pick Kimi Antonelli and who's going to pick somebody else? You got first dibs there, so we'll just do Formula One, F1, Hungarian Grand Prix. In terms of Phil is going to go with, I'm not going to pick Kimi Antonelli. I'm just going to go against the green, because why not? Lewis Hamilton has won more races at Hungary than anybody. He'll go and win for a third different constructor at Hungary, with AKA and then Norris rounding out podium. What do you say, Josh, in regards to the Hungarian Grand Prix?
Well, if you're gonna say Lewis Hamilton, I'll say Charles Leclerc, and George Russell and Verstappen in third.
Okay. So Woody rounding out podium, which could speak to a possible DNF for AK. So then this points gap that he's gained, 45, could possibly get cut down to 20 or 19 if Lewis were to get that victory and get a fastest lap or something. Who knows what it could be, but would make it more intriguing. And then, or George Russell. So let's see if that's right. We'll talk about it next week. Thanks to you, Josh, as always, for your insights and and guidance and work behind the scenes. And yeah, we'll be back next week for episode 325. And thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing, liking, and we'll see you next time.